in Palestine since 1948, and perhaps even prior to that, was a slow genocide. The genocide did not start a few months ago. It has been there as a slow genocide, but from October 7, in the reaction of Israel, it has developed into an accelerated genocide, and a terrible, terrible one at that. Another significant meaning of October 7 and what has happened since, in these last almost 7 months, is that Israel has, without any doubt, lost the war. It may seem as if the opposite is true, but Israel is losing every day. And whatever may happen in Rafah, whatever may happen in the weeks or months ahead, nothing can change this fact that Israel has lost. It has lost the war for acceptance in the world, for being recognized as a good country, as a civilized country. That is diminishing every single day. It has been said by more than one observer, and I fully agree with that in the reaction of Netanyahu and his government following on October 7, the mask of Zionism, the mask of Israel has slipped down. And Israel, Zionism, is exposed in all its ugliness. I'm not referring to the people, not speaking about Jews as such, but about an ideology. Poisonous, hateful ideology, white supremacism, racism. The third thing is that the third significance of October 7 is the growth of sympathy for Palestine across the globe. Now this is unstoppable. This is growing day by day. And nobody is helping this process forward more than the Prime Minister of Israel, with his utterly stupid way of handling the crisis of Gaza. The pro-Palestine movement is now growing in leaps and bounds. You can think of the street protests, the campus sit-ins in the United States of America, and this morning I also took note of something which is happening in Antarctica. Can you believe that? This is now the 6th continent of the world, and the sympathy, the growing sympathy for Palestine has even reached the South Pole now. I saw a photo of a group of scientists working there at the moment, holding up a pro-Palestine poster and exhibiting their support for Palestine. So it's around the world. And it would not have been the case without the contribution of Netanyahu and his government. If we talk about the campus protests, sit-ins in the United States of America, and of course street protests, sometimes numbering almost 1 million people in places like Washington, New York, London, wherever else. This great awakening is an awakening of a realization of we are co-responsible. I have not realized that up to now. Up to now, in America, in Great Britain, in Europe, and in South Africa, for many people at least, the governing thought of people when they took note of what was happening in Palestine was, it's happening there and it's a great pity. Well, it's Palestinians, it's second-class people, and we are not responsible for that. But now the realization has come, we are co-responsible. side of Palestine, not taking the side of the oppressed, as the Bible teaches us and the Quran teaches us. You can contribute to the occupation of Palestine, the oppression of the Palestinian people, just by being silent.
Yes.
And that realization has now dawned in a very, very clear fashion. So that is why people are protesting, that is why the students will not budge, and that is why people even in Antarctica are holding up their posts and say, we support Palestine. Regardless of what the outcome of the military adventures of the Zionists may be, this movement has now become unstoppable. But grass movements, like we are witnessing now in the world, do not happen overnight.
Yes.
In the months and in the years before the student protest in America and the massive street protests around the world, in the months and years before that, the ground was prepared by people who worked very, very hard. People who did not keep quiet. People who wrote articles, speeches. People who prayed. People who stood on street corners and gave their testimony. Organizations, networks of people. And that includes South Africa as well. If we want to think about the future of Palestinian movement here in South Cape, here in Georgia as well, there are three things that we should consider. First one, the three things that I have in mind can be abbreviated in the following fashion. Three things: educate yourself. Second, mobilize. And the third one is organize. Educate yourself. Read. Read as much as you can. Read the history of the occupation of Palestine. If you want to know, if you want to understand what the Secretary General of the United Nations says, what he says, October 7th did not occur in a vacuum, then you must understand the history. I have a copy of an ad that appeared in the New York Times in 1899. And nothing was held back in that ad. And what it said was, on such and such a date in the vicinity of New York, a public meeting would be held. And the topic of that evening would be the colonization of Palestine. Just like that. So if we take cognizance of facts like that, then we understand what is happening today. And we understand the role we have to play. So educate yourself, and not only yourself, but help educate others as well. If you read something that helped you, you saw a video, share it on social media. Invite people for a cup of coffee. Invite a few friends. Tell them, I'd like to hear your thoughts on Palestine and Israel. To educate yourself, mobilize by building networks, alliances, keep in contact with what the people are doing in Cape Town, in Johannesburg, in Durban, and overseas. Build the networks. And the third one, organize events like today. Should be much, much bigger than it is this morning. We should have hundreds and hundreds of people in attendance. But to achieve that, it must be organized. And for it to be organized well, we need people to say, I put up my hand. If you need assistance, call on me. There must be meetings. Meetings of friends, meetings of people representing churches, the mosque, political parties, and say, what do we want to achieve a year from now? And how do we get there? So, educate yourself, mobilize, organize, and may God bless this movement in the South Cape. May He bless Palestine, and may He make Palestine free.